Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Alex here. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make your own full coverage powder foundation. It is very easy. You're pretty much just mixing a bunch of powders, and here's what you will need. Today I will be using my brown cosmetic grade iron oxide. This is what it looks like. You can get this on Amazon. Brown iron oxide, Making Cosmetics, I guess that's the brand name. And my rice starch. You can also get this on Amazon. You can either get pure rice starch or the rice starch that's mixed with wheat, and it can be used as a substitute for titanium oxide. This is a safer substitute than titanium oxide. And you will need, I will be using a spoon, my mixer, and just a bowl that I'll be mixing it in. I'm going to start with my brown iron oxide. I'm just going to take this much and pour it into my empty container. And I'll take some rice starch. I don't want to contaminate this rice starch with what I have in my spoon, so I'll just use the end of the spoon to scoop this much rice starch into my container. It's a little bit more than the iron oxide, so I'm just gonna pour that in there. Oops. And that's what we have. Focus. Yeah, so that's what we have. Now I'm just gonna mix it, mix and mix. You want to break up any lumps that you have, and then mix the powders together. I'm just gonna roll it like that to break up the lumps. So after mixing it, this is what it looks like. It's a flat brown shade that is not quite my shade. I've tested it on my hand. It's not quite my shade. So I'm going to add a little bit of red in here, very little red. The red pigments can be quite overwhelming, so you don't want it taking over the brown. If you're using these two, whatever colors you're using, you kind of want to be mindful of it. So I'm going to take this much red. I'm not measuring anything, as you can see, and just add it to the brown, and I will continue mixing. I'm rolling the I guess the stick or the pin in a grinding motion over the powders to break up any lumps that there are. The brown definitely has a more reddish tint to it. Let me swatch it and see if I need to add some of the white powder. A little bit, that much. And it definitely matches my hand, but doesn't match my face. I've got makeup on my face now, so it's kind of hard to tell, but you do want your face to match the rest of your body anyway. So it definitely looks like it matches my skin tone, but I'm going to be taking off this foundation that I have on and applying this so that you can see what it looks like. but that looks like it does match, but I need to mix it up a little bit more because it still feels slightly grainy. So after mixing it a little bit more, I'm going to use a brush to swatch it again, just to make sure that I have the right shade. So I'll just take a little bit and swatch here. Okay, that is definitely darker than my skin tone, so I'm going to add a little bit more white, more of the white powder. So I'll pretty much just keep adding more white powder until I achieve my true skin tone. So guys, I decided to add this much of the white powder, which is actually either the same volume as the brown or a little bit more, because I'm starting to see that I need a lot more white powder to add to the brown to get my skin tone. That's why you want to start with a very small amount of the colored pigment and then add your white pigment, because if you start with a large colored pigment, you might need to add a lot of white pigment and you may end up with way too much powder. So yes, I'm going to mix this up and I'll be back to show you. So guys, now that I have mixed it, I have this much powder, and I am going to add a little bit of yellow to get something closer to my skin tone. And how I know that is that I'm looking at my NYX powder foundation, and I can see that this is very close to my skin tone, but it does look a little bit more yellow than this, but this looks a little bit quite red and also very close to my skin tone. Honestly, I think this is closer to my skin tone than this, but when I wear this, it blends really well with the rest of my skin, and I want to achieve something that's between these two colors. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow and more of the white powder. And by the way, this is also this is yellow iron oxide, cosmetic grade. So I'll add this much yellow, and a little bit more white. A lot of white actually, because I'm starting to notice that I need to lighten this quite a bit. So that's what we have, and I'm just gonna mix it. So guys, I'm back. Now I'm done mixing everything together. This is how much I've got, and this is what it looks like. That is quite a bit. This is my NYX. So the shade, the NYX shade, this is my NYX powder foundation, which I absolutely love. And this is the one I made. It's slightly darker than the NYX. And I want it that way because I think this will be a closer match to my skin tone than the NYX. As you can see, look at my hand next to the NYX. My hand is more brown and more reddish, like a reddish brown compared to the NYX. And I think my skin is a closer shade to this one that I made. And one thing I wanted to point out is that look at how much powder that I ended up with. It's quite a bit. I did not add any additional brown or red. It was the initial amount that I started with, which was about maybe maybe this much, and I ended up with this much of the powder foundation. So if you're going to do this and you're not as dark as I am, you literally want to use maybe this much of the brown, because you're going to end up with a lot. By the time you continue to add the white powder and the red and the yellow, you will end up with a lot. So yes, that is a lot, and I have to find a more permanent container to pour it in. I do have a powder container, a really nice antique one. It's around here somewhere. So anyway, I'm done mixing, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take off the foundation that I have on right now, and I'm going to apply my NYX foundation on one side and my DIY powder foundation on the other side, and see if you can spot a major difference between the two. Alright guys, I am back and all of the foundation is off of my face. I am going to start with the NYX full coverage powder foundation with the NYX sponge, and I will apply that to this side of my face. Now I will go in. I'm just gonna wipe this off a little bit so I can wipe some of the NYX powder off of it. And now I will apply the DIY to the other side of my face. So I have applied both to my face. There is a slight shade difference between the two. This is a darker shade, and I believe a closer shade to my skin tone than the NYX, which is on this side. But as far as coverage, it covers just as much as the NYX covers. If anything, it seems as if this might be a little bit more matte. But you know, the difference is so slight that it's barely noticeable. One has to point it out to you, otherwise you would not notice the difference between the two, except for the shade difference, and even that, it's also very slight. But the NYX is a little bit easier, it's smoother, the texture is smoother to apply than the DIY, but it's also a barely noticeable difference. It's a very, very small difference, and I will continue to use my NYX because I love it, but I will also use this. I've been using this for years, guys. When I was in college, I used to do this a lot. I used to have a very cute container, a powder container, that I would pour it in, and I would use either a sponge like this or a brush. A brush gives me lighter coverage, and I really, really love it. I really love it. Let me try using a brush and see if it'll give me a different look. Generally, brushes give less coverage than sponges. So yeah, I can imagine if you apply your primer and then apply your foundation like you normally would, this will give you very, very, very good coverage. So I have my primer here, and I'm going to apply it to my face and then apply both brands to show you what it looks like with the primer on. So now I'm going to apply my NYX to this side, and I'll use a brush as well, just to follow the same method that I did with the first one. Once again, with my primer on, I see that there is a difference in the shade between the NYX and the DIY, but I don't see any major difference between the way that they provide coverage for my face. They all cover the same way. I'm going to use this a lot and use the NYX, you know, occasionally. And the DIY is more matte. The NYX one has a lot of shine. It's matte, but it's shinier than the DIY. So I like that this is very, very matte. And I am going to use this a lot more. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys, you know, how it looks with my primer on. So definitely give it a try, guys. It's amazing, and it gives you full coverage because, as you can see, it covers just as much as this NYX powder foundation. It's the stay matte but not flat one, which I really love. And yeah, this is my DIY for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.